So, Vince thinks that he can fool everyone into thinking that he is the one behind this. Well, I have news for him and anyone who actually believes that it is him. It isn't. I am not Vince McMahon. I do have to say that Vince, I applaud you, Vince. I applaud you for trying to make these people believe that you are behind this. You're not behind this. I am acting on my own volition. I am acting on my own. The only person that I have helping me is the person that is hacking your show for me. And don't even think to say that he works for you, because he may have, but he works for me now. Because you didn't see what talent you had before you let him walk. When I found out he walked, I knew that he would benefit me, especially with my from a financial standpoint, because I had just invested in you. This is how I can keep a close eye on you. When I feel like putting my mouth in front of a microphone and talking, I interrupt your show because I have my money invested in your show and I don't want people to know who I am. Because I can choose when I show up or if. Because you know something, Vince? You have no say in when I show up. You have no say in when I appear, because all I have is stock in your company. I don't have a piece of paper that says I have to appear. I am not your employee. Finally, somebody outdid the wizard named Vince McMahon. I am that person. I outdid the wizard. Because I am here to tell you, Vince, that I am going to put the power in the hands of the people. I am going to give the fans the opportunity to use their voice and determine what they see. Because many people believe the Royal Rumble might be the next pay-per-view, but I am changing that. If you want another pay-per-view, if you want a pay-per-view where the fans decide, then use your voice. Use your voice and make them hear you. Because I can make it happen, and I will. All you have to do is use your voice. Vince, this is unlike any battle, unlike any war that has ever been waged on WWE before. I am not going to stop until change has taken shape in the WWE. Because I have my money in this company now. And I am not going to stop until I feel like my money is safe. And with you at the helm, I don't trust you as much as you don't trust me. And even though I haven't worked for you for a long time, Vince, you still don't trust me. And now, you don't trust me more than you ever have before. I'll be back when I feel like coming back. Until then, Vince, enjoy the knowledge to know that someone is influencing your stockholders. Someone is using his power to change your company. And that someone is me. But you won't know who I am until I'm good and ready to tell you who I am. Until then, you'll only hear from me when I'm good and ready. Change will continue. If you think this is change, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'll be back when I want to be. So long, Vince. Welcome to another edition of Let's Play WWE 2015, also known as the most awkward YouTube series that you will find on the internet. Because if you've seen any of my videos, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, click the link right up in the top right corner of this video, the annotation to one of my previous videos, and give it a watch. Then you'll find out exactly what I'm talking about. But as you can tell, for this episode of Let's Play WWE 2015, the last episode of Monday Night Raw for 2014, we are starting on a different screen for this episode. Starting differently might be a little bit more accurate to say, but either way, we're starting differently, because we're starting on this screen instead of the booking menu that we normally go to. And now I'm just going to give you a look at what I got planned for this episode of Monday Night Raw, from the pre-show matches to the main event. I'm giving you a little bit of a look to see what I have planned for this show before I run the event. As you also heard, to kick off the show, the hacker is back. The hacker is back, and he basically wanted to make sure everybody knew he did it on purpose. He told Brad Maddox, that he wanted to make sure everybody knew that Vince McMahon wasn't a hacker. He was just he was trying to make everybody believe he was, to play it off, that he was doing it himself to make ratings go up. And here is the reason why I bring it up. It is because Vince is busy tonight, but that little interview, that little segment that I just put up right at the end of the show, is for SmackDown, because Vince is going to talk about the hacker this Friday night on SmackDown, as we jump into the show. And we hit up the pre-show matches to begin with the Usos against Zack Ryder and Flex Freeman, and the Usos win the victory, which hasn't come very often to them this year. Which is something, rather, that hasn't come very often to them this year, much like it is something that hasn't come very often to Justin Gabriel, who also gets the win. And two guys that never win, Bo Dallas and Santino, which is the reason why they're versing each other in the main event, per se, on the pre-show. To give one of them a win, and that person who gets the win is Bo Dallas. Before the show actually kicks off, I just want to make sure you notice one thing, and that is, the webcam is on. I'm changing the approach, I'm changing the outlook of the series, and letting you see a different part of the series, because this is the first time I'm actually using the webcam for a part of the Let's Play series. Much like last night, Vince McMahon kicks off the show getting out of his limousine in the parking lot, and you could tell right when he gets out of his limo that he is pissed off. And Vince starts walking and meets up with Triple H and Stephanie. Not a word is exchanged outside of basically Triple H telling Renee to piss off, because can't you tell Vince isn't in the mood to talk. All three of them then walk the opposite way of Renee to the authorities' office, as it seems Vince is not pissed off about last night. Vince is not pissed off about Brad Maddox. Vince is pissed off about the interruption to begin Raw. And that is exactly what Michael Cole and the announcers talk about as they wonder, is Vince pissed off about last night or tonight? But that's beside the point. Right now we get into the first match of the night. The New Day against Joe Hennig, Jack Swagger, and Heath Slater as the New Day get back on the winning track after coming up short against Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown last night at TLC. But this time they're in a 6-man tag team match instead of a tag team match like they were in last night. And following the match, we get a promo from the New Day, much like what we saw last night, them bashing D'Lo Brown and saying D'Lo is outdated and that it's not 1999 anymore, no matter how much these people want it to be. That era is dead. And the talent can't be called talent anymore because they're just booty. And they once again put over the idea of not knowing who D'Lo Brown actually is, and they say, who, they do their who thing that they normally do as the New Day. And then we move backstage. If you don't know why Kane is looking for Seth Rollins, then click in the top right corner, the annotation at the top right corner, to go back and watch TLC from last night as Kane fought Seth Rollins at the show, and Kane lost due to interference by Joey and Jamie, J&J Security, and now Kane is out on a quest to find Seth Rollins, and he's asking Byron if he's seen him. As the show continues, we keep going here with this episode of Raw live from the Tucson Convention Center in Tucson, Arizona. A little bit longer than I thought I would give Kane and Byron Saxton, but it is also just a way for me to keep talking and mention something that I wanted to mention, but I forgot what I wanted to mention. That's why I'm giving myself a second on this screen to give me some time to think. Oh, that's right. Upcoming in ROH, in the ROH Let's Play, if you're a fan of both my Let's Plays, if not, then just, deal with it. Or go forward at least a minute. But I am actually taking a break in the ROH Let's Play, not to focus more on the WWE one, but more so just to take a break and get to a point where maybe I could be a little bit more comfortable being in Ring of Honor. But it's just a break. I'm not ending the series. Now back to what's going on here. Stardust and R-Truth. For the last couple of weeks, Stardust just came up on the short end of the stick and really been losing. So what can I do to make change things up? Put him in a singles match and give him a win. And that's exactly what he gets tonight against Stardust. And now we move backstage to an interesting picture as Mr. McMahon is standing backstage with two officers, and he's basically instructing them to tear apart this arena and find out how the hacker could interrupt their feed on the USA Network. To find out if the hacker, the person who is working with the mystery shareholder, is still in the Tucson Convention Center here in Tucson, Arizona. And Vince is instructing them to go room to room, to tear apart this building, to tear apart this arena, and find the hacker to figure out if he is still in Tucson. And now we move back to the broadcast position with Michael, JBL, and Booker as they talk about how crazy Vince is getting. How crazy the hacker is driving Vince. And Booker brings up the point, how crazy would you be if you knew somebody was hacking your company, hacking your show, and screwing with your television product? How crazy would you be in finding who he is and why he's doing this? And then one of them bring up the point, he's doing it because he wants change, but that doesn't excuse the fact that he's hacking Vince McMahon's show. Nobody crosses the boss. Now we move to the next match as the Wyatt family continues to dominate the tag team division in their quest to become WWE World Tag Team Champions. This time, the Wyatts take down the Primetime Players. And just another point about what I was talking about before I quickly mentioned the Wyatts. Just imagine this, Vince, somebody hacking your show, screwing with what you spend days, hours, weeks planning. How would you feel? But now we cut after the match to Bray Wyatt in the ring, and Bray cuts another mysterious promo. Not much to it other than Bray is unscripted. Now back from a commercial break, AJ calls out Paige. If you don't know why you missed TLC, I'll try my best to explain it. Well, basically, AJ was in a triple threat match for the WWE Divas title last night at TLC, and Paige cost her the match, and now AJ's calling her out to find out exactly why Paige cost her the match last night at TLC. Paige makes her way out to the ring, and it doesn't take that long for Paige to basically tell AJ, you've always been jealous of me. Well, because I was always better than you, because I ended your record-setting reign in my first night. I beat you for the title in my first night in the company, and you could never get over that. It ate you up. You hated the fact that I beat you in my first night. And yet, you are still given the spotlight over me? I'll deal with Natty in a second, but first, I want to deal with you. And now we move to the next segment. After the announcers discuss what we just saw a little bit, we move to the next segment as Dolph Ziggler comes into frame and joins the announcers on commentary for the next match. And the next match includes The Miz, as The Miz is going up against Sami Zayn. That's right, the same person who Dolph Ziggler went against to basically challenge The Miz, get the right to face Luke Harper last night at TLC in a number one contender match for a shot to face The Miz, which Dolph won, and now he's letting his presence be noticed as The Miz notices him, but that doesn't stop The Miz from beating Sami Zayn tonight on Raw. And Miz continues building his momentum and showing why he belongs as Intercontinental Champion, but Dolph vaguely disagrees, saying that, Miz, all you do is remind everyone that you main evented WrestleMania 5 years ago. Since then, what have you done? The title that has more meaning to people like me than you do to these people is the reason why you are becoming relevant again. But I am not going to be the reason why you become relevant again. When we get back in the ring against each other again, You're not gonna get lucky twice, Miz. I am walking away with the Intercontinental title at the Royal Rumble. And that's a guarantee. Because it's time for me to show why I am the best damn wrestler in this company. And become the champion. Again. Because I never lost that title to begin with. And if that came off a little heelish, it was supposed to, because I'm sick and tired of Dolph being comedy relief and saying the same old thing. Maybe making him sound a little bit heelish might be a little bit better. Now, moving into this next segment, if you remember the segment with Byron Saxton from earlier tonight, this segment is basically the same thing as Kane comes in, walks up to Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and asks them if they've seen Seth Rollins. And now we move into the next match with AJ against Naomi, and Naomi wins off a distraction from Paige. I believe that's what the reason was. I don't remember. And I think it's a little weird, because if it was a distraction from Paige, it would be included in the caption for the match. But either way, Paige cost AJ the match. And following the match, there's a face-off between Paige and AJ, and you could cut the tension with a knife. You could cut the tension with a knife between these two women. And now we jump over to Michael Cole, who, as a graphic flashes up on the screen, and we find out that this Friday night on SmackDown, Natalya will team up with her husband, Tyson Kidd, and Cesaro, the new WWE World Tag Team Champions, against Paige and the former champs Stardust and Goldust in 6-man tag team action. That's this Thursday, live. Well, this Thursday on SmackDown. I apologize, SmackDown's not live. It's not on Thursday either, it's on Friday. Because this is before it moved. Which I think I'm still gonna do what WWE did with which if I'm correct, WWE moved SmackDown in January, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do next year. I'm gonna move it. Now I know if you paid attention and you weren't just watching it mindlessly, Joe Hennig actually competed in 2 matches tonight. Yes, he did. He competed in 1 match against the New Day in a 6-man tag earlier tonight, and he's competing again, this time against Kevin Owens. Why? Plain and simple. Ric Flair requested Joe compete in 2 matches because people like Flair, like Joe's father, Kurt Hennig, competed in 2 matches back in the day. So Rick wanted to test Joe. Rick wanted to test to see if he could handle the stress, the pressure of competing in 2 matches in 1 show. But as you can tell, it didn't really work out, not just because Joe lost, but because Flair cost him the match. And that's exactly what happens in this segment. Joe is pissed off at Flair for not only getting him in 2 matches tonight, but also costing him his match against Kevin Owens. And now we move backstage once again. With Mr. McMahon and his guards, and the officers, in a different part of the arena this time. But once again, the instructions are: tear apart the arena and see if you can find the hacker. Because I want to bring this son of a bitch down. Nobody messes with Vince McMahon and gets away with it. I am gonna get the last laugh, because I'm Vince McMahon, damn it. And nobody crosses me, especially on my own show. Now find that hacker. Do it. I don't care if you have to tear apart this arena to find him. I'm a billionaire, damn it. Find him. As you can hear, and you could probably imagine, Vince is pissed off and he wants that hacker found. But that's gonna have to wait, because we move back to the ring with Seth Rollins, as Seth Rollins goes up against the big guy. But that match doesn't really matter. The segment is what matters, because Kane makes his way down to the ring following the match, and very quickly, actually, he makes his way down to the ring, but Seth sees him coming and ducks into the crowd. And just as Seth is about to make... You think Seth's gonna creep towards the ring, but no, because just as Seth makes his way back to the ring, he steps backwards a little bit more, and then the lights go down, and an old familiar sound is heard. It's the sound of the Wyatt family, and the Wyatts surrounded the ring. And everybody's wondering, what the hell are the Wyatts doing out here? Why the hell are the Wyatts going after Kane? Seth is now back at the guardrail. Kane's watching Seth as the Wyatts, specifically Luke, jumps in from behind. And Luke and Bray jump in from behind, and then Eric joins the fray. A 3-on-1 ambush on Kane by the Wyatt family. But why? Why is the Wyatt family attacking Kane? Why is the Wyatt family attacking Kane and not Seth Rollins, especially after Bray's interaction with Seth a few weeks ago on SmackDown? And that's exactly what Michael and his cohorts are talking about following the segment. I apologize if I'm talking fast. I really do apologize. It's just that if I went in as much depth as I wanted to, this video would take a half hour, longer than it is taking, and I don't know how long you actually want to sit here and watch it. And then we move backstage with Kevin Owens standing by with Renee Young, and Kevin says, "You want to know why I've been attacking John Cena? You don't deserve to know why I'm attacking John Cena, because if anybody wants to know, I'll tell John to his face. But I'll leave you with this. John, you think you're the face that runs the place. It ain't your time anymore, Cena. It's mine. Even if it means I have to take you out to do it." So the Kevin Owens-John Cena feud is starting a little bit early, but it's still starting. And then we move to another, in many ways, random Ambrose sighting, as Dean Ambrose goes against Alex Shelley, and Dean comes up on the victorious side against Alex Shelley, but he grabs the mic following the match, and Dean Ambrose becomes the first to announce his intention to enter the 2015 Royal Rumble match. He is the first person to announce that he will enter the Royal Rumble. And I'm saying it that way to avoid people getting confused like they did when the Big Show announced that he was entering the Rumble, because many people thought that Big Show was actually entering number 1 and not announcing that he was the first person to enter the Rumble. And that's why I'm saying Dean is not going to be number 1, or he might be, I don't know. But as of right now, he is not number 1. He is just announcing that he is in the Rumble. And now, if you missed TLC, metaphorically, of course, a video package would air right here of highlights of the show, highlighting the major parts, including the triple threat matches for the WWE World Title shot at Royal Rumble, and the WWE Divas triple threat match for the WWE Divas title that happened also last night as well. And now, much like last night, when Daniel Bryan came out and issued an open challenge which was accepted by Brie, if you don't know what I'm talking about, once again, then click in the description, click in the top right corner, because there's an annotation in the top right corner of this video to go watch TLC. But Daniel wanted a match. Brie didn't think it was a good idea, and for right here, Daniel would talk about Bree and Mick Foley and what they said last night, and just as Daniel is getting to saying that he wants back in the ring, because Mick even echoed it that it's tough to give it up. Daniel isn't ready to give it up, and that brings out Stephanie McMahon. And I'm not going to really touch upon what Stephanie and Daniel say, because I believe Stephanie has good chemistry with very few people in WWE, especially right now, and Daniel is actually one of those people that Stephanie has good chemistry with. So I would let Daniel and Steph talk unscripted, just with bullet points, and the only bullet point I would give Steph is saying that, Daniel, we care. Me and Hunter care, and that's why I asked two of Hunter's closest friends to come out to be here tonight and to talk to you right now. So come on out. And that's where Scott Hall and Kevin Nash come in. Because if anybody knows about the negatives that this business causes, like losing a family, it's Scott and Kevin. Scott knows how to... before he reconciled with his kids, Scott lost his family. Kevin didn't. Kevin's been... Kevin is still married, to my knowledge, and has been married throughout his entire wrestling career for the most part. But if anybody knows the negative effects of the wrestling business, it's Scott Hall, and I think that's why I would make Scott come out and talk to Daniel. But in many ways, and Daniel would say this, Scott, I'm nothing like you. I don't take drugs. You did. My only demon is you, Stephanie. Because you are stopping me from getting back in this ring and competing like I want to do for each and every one of these people. And Scott brings it up. Daniel, we're not all that different, because I was just like you. But what I'm saying is, you need to stop thinking about these people. You need to stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about your family, because your family is who you're going to be with for the rest of your life. One day, all this is going to be over. And that's why we're here, because we're here to tell you, though it might be difficult to give up, your family needs to take precedent over this eventually. And if Bree wants to start a family, you gotta start thinking about her and your kids, Daniel, and not these people, and not yourself. Your life is bigger than your career, Daniel. And that quote right there, your life is bigger than your career, is the main crux of this feud, this angle, this story, that your life is bigger than your career. Your life does not start and end with wrestling. Your life is separate from wrestling, important from wrestling, and will continue after it's over. Michael asked JBL and Booker how difficult was it for them to give up their in-ring careers, and if they have any regrets, and both men said no. Then Michael asked if they miss it, and both men said absolutely. It's something very difficult to give up, and something that you'll always miss. And right here, I'm not going to talk about too much, because I talked about it a little bit before I ran the show. This is the announcers touching upon the fact that Vince McMahon will actually be live on SmackDown, meaning I don't mean that SmackDown is live, I mean that Vince will actually be there for the first time in a very long time at the SmackDown taping tomorrow night on Tuesday, and will be also seen on Thursday, because he will be disclosing all he found tonight with his officers in looking for the hacker, and how he's going to deal with the hacker in the future. Now we move to the main event as the #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight title at the Royal Rumble goes against Rusev. Randy Orton defeats the Bulgarian Brute. And unfortunately, after readjusting the screen, you're not able to see what I did on the show, but I got an 80 final rating and I increased my popularity in 19 regions. That's right, we increased our popularity in 19 regions. I don't get it. It seems like we always do better with Raw than we do with SmackDown. It seems like we always do better with Raw because it seems like we always gain with Raw and lose with every other show. But the direction is getting over. The direction is getting over when I use the right people and do the right thing. Because now Daniel is back. But will he be seen on both shows? No, he won't be. But will he actually compete? Well, to find that out, you have to watch SmackDown, which is the next video in this, the WWE Let's Play WWE 2015. A little disclaimer, I just want to say that I apologize in advance. Well, not in advance because the video is almost over. But I apologize once again if I'm talking fast, if I'm hard to follow, if the commentary seems forced. I apologize. It's just that there's a lot to get to in a 3-hour show, and maybe I'm going to start making changes to this, how I set it up, how I do it, to maybe get a little bit more relaxed. But if you did like the video, leave a like or subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time. Later.